Hey everyone! Did you know some quarters you see every day could be worth a lot more than just 25 cents? Some special coins are super rare and can be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Stick around to find out how to spot these hidden treasures in your pocket. Our first coin is the 1776 to 1976 Bicentennial quarter with no mint mark. This coin is very well known and was made to celebrate America's 200th birthday. That's why it has two dates, 1776 and 1976, on the front instead of just one. It marks 200 years since the signing of the Declaration of Independence. This coin wasn't made for just 1 year. It was actually produced during both 1975 and 1976, which is why you'll never see a quarter dated 1975. On the front of the coin is George Washington, just like every other Washington quarter. But the back is special. Instead of the usual eagle, this coin shows a colonial drummer boy standing with his drum. Above him is a victory torch and 13 stars that stand for the original 13 colonies. This patriotic design was created by artist Jack L. Ahr, who won a nationwide contest. It gave the coin a fresh and historical look to match the celebration of America's independence. This quarter was made at 3 U.S. mint locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The Philadelphia ones have no mint mark at all, which is why they're called no mint mark quarters. Most of these were made from a copper-nickel mix, also known as clad. Millions were made, so if you find one today that's been used, it's usually worth just face value, 25 cents. That's very common. But not all coins are the same. If your quarter looks shiny and clean and doesn't have scratches, it might be what collectors call uncirculated. These coins were never used and are in great condition. Uncirculated bicentennial quarters can sell for around $1.25 to $6, depending on how perfect they are. If you find one that was part of a special collector's set and made of silver-clad metal, those can be worth even more, often between $5 and $8, especially in proof or mint condition. So the better the condition, the better the value. But what really gets collectors excited is finding a coin with a mistake, also known as an error. One common error is called a double die, where some of the words or numbers look like they were stamped twice. These can be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. The stronger the doubling, the more valuable the coin becomes. Some have sold for over $3,000. Other rare mistakes include coins that were struck off-center, or ones that were accidentally made on the wrong blank, like a dime. One of these bicentennial quarters struck on a dime planchet sold for around $12,000. There are also coins that were struck through grease or cloth, leaving behind blurry or missing details. These rare errors have sold for $800 or more. The highest prices come from nearly perfect coins. One silver bicentennial quarter in proof condition sold for $19,200. Even regular clad versions in mint state condition have sold for thousands. Some rare errors and double strikes have sold for over $40,000. So, if you come across a bicentennial quarter with no mint mark, don't ignore it, take a closer look. It might be worth far more than just 25 cents. Our second coin is the 2021 D Crossing the Delaware quarter. This coin is part of the America the Beautiful series, and it shows a very famous moment in American history, George Washington crossing the Delaware River in New Jersey. This event happened during the Revolutionary War on a cold Christmas night in 1776. Washington led his soldiers across the icy river to surprise the British troops, which was a big turning point in the war for America's independence. On the front of this quarter, you still see George Washington's familiar face, just like on most quarters. But the back is what makes this coin special. It shows Washington standing strong in a small boat, leading his men through rough waters. The design captures the bravery and determination it took to make that crossing. You can see the waves and the boat's details, making the scene look alive and full of action. It's a beautiful design that reminds us of courage and hope. This coin was made at the Denver Mint in 2021, so it has a small D mint mark on it. The mint mark tells collectors where the coin was made, and sometimes coins from different mints can have different values. Right now, since this coin is very new, most of them are still common and worth just 25 cents, their face value. But that doesn't mean the 2021 D, crossing the Delaware, quarter can't be worth more. If you have a coin that looks perfect, without any scratches or wear, it's called uncirculated. Collectors like these coins more because they still have all their original shine and details. Sometimes, uncirculated coins can sell for a little bit more, maybe $1 or $2, especially if they're kept safe in coin sets. Now, here's where things get exciting. Some coins can have mistakes made during the minting process. These mistakes are called error coins, and they can be worth a lot more money than regular coins. For example, if the coin was struck off center, or if part of the design is missing or doubled, collectors get very excited. These error coins are much rarer, and because of that, they can sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars. In fact, some rare error versions of this quarter have been known to reach values of up to $2,000 or more. That's a huge jump from the regular 25 cents. So if you find a 2021 D, crossing the Delaware, quarter that looks unusual or different, it might be worth having an expert take a look. Even without errors, some versions of this quarter, like special proof coins or coins in perfect condition, may be worth more in the future. Proof coins are made especially for collectors and have a shiny, mirror-like finish. These usually sell for more than regular coins because they are made in smaller numbers and have higher quality. So, while most 2021 D, crossing the Delaware, quarters are still just worth 25 cents today, coins in top condition or with special mistakes can be worth much more. Collectors are always on the lookout for these unique coins, and their value can grow over time. It's always a good idea to check your coins closely if you want to see if you have something special. The story behind this quarter, showing Washington's bravery and the fight for freedom, makes it a meaningful coin to keep. Whether you're a casual collector or someone who loves history, the 2021 D, crossing the Delaware, quarter is a great piece to have. It reminds us of an important moment that helped shape the United States. Our third coin is the 2022 D Maya Angelou quarter. This coin is part of a special series called the American Women Quarters program. It honors important women in American history, and Maya Angelou was chosen for the first coin in this series. She was a famous poet, author, and civil rights activist, known for her powerful words and inspiring life story. On the front of the coin, you still see George Washington's face like on most quarters. But the back of the coin is where Maya Angelou shines. The design shows her with her arms lifted high, and behind her is a bird flying. This bird represents freedom and hope, symbolizing her spirit and the positive influence she had on many people. The artist who made this design wanted to show Maya Angelou's strength, joy, and the way she lifted others up with her words. This quarter was made in Denver, so it has the D mint mark on it. It was released in 2022 and quickly became popular with collectors and people who admire Maya Angelou's work. The coin is made with a copper-nickel mix, just like most modern quarters. It's a beautiful coin, and many people want to have one because of who Maya Angelou was and what she represents. Now, about the value. If you find one of these quarters that has been used a lot, it's usually worth just a little more than 25 cents, about 30 to 40 cents in most cases. That's a small increase, but still above the coin's face value. If you have one that looks new and shiny, what collectors call uncirculated, it could be worth between 75 cents and $1. Coins in sets, especially special collector sets, might reach up to $5. Some 2022 D Maya Angelou quarters that are in very high grades can be worth quite a bit more. For example, a coin graded MS-67 from Denver can be worth around $30, while an MS-68 coin has been known to sell for about $510. These grading numbers mean the coin's condition is nearly perfect, with sharp details and no damage. Coins in such good condition are much rarer and more valuable. But some of the most impressive sales have come from coins made at other mints. For example, a Philadelphia MS-67 Plus coin sold for $2,375, and a San Francisco MS-69 First Strike coin reached $2,500. First Strike coins are special because they were made very early in the coin's production, often with extra care, and collectors really want these. There are also error coins with the Maya Angelou quarter that can be worth a lot. One famous error is called the drooling Washington die chip, where it looks like Washington on the front has a small drip or mark near his mouth. These funny errors have sold for around $2,100. Another quirky error called, "In God We Trust," where part of the inscription looks strange, has sold for between $1,000 and $2,100. It's important to know that many marks or scratches on coins, like the Ring of Death, are actually damage and not real mint errors. True errors happen during the coin's production and are much rarer. Because Maya Angelou was such an inspiring figure and this coin is part of a special series, many people want to collect it. If you find one in great shape or with an unusual error, it could be worth a nice amount of money. Even regular coins might become more valuable over time as collectors look for all the coins in this important series. Our next coin is the 1965 Washington quarter with no mint mark. This coin is important because it represents a time when the U.S. Mint made some changes to stop people from hoarding coins. Between 1965 and 1967, the Mint decided to leave off the mint marks on quarters and some other coins. This was because silver was becoming hard to find, and many people started saving coins made of silver, causing shortages. By not putting mint marks on these coins, the Mint hoped to reduce hoarding and keep more coins in circulation. The 1965 Washington quarter is made of a copper-nickel mix, called clad, which replaced the older silver quarters. These new quarters weigh about 5.67 grams, which is a bit lighter than the older silver ones. The change from silver to clad was a big deal because before 1965, quarters were mostly 90% silver. The copper-nickel clad coins don't have any silver, so they aren't worth much for their metal content. Most 1965 quarters with no mint mark are worth only their face value, which is 25 cents. This is because millions were made, and they are very common. If you have one that has been used and shows signs of wear, like scratches or fading, it's usually not worth more than 25 cents. But if you have one that looks almost new and has sharp details with no wear, it could be worth a little more. Collectors call these uncirculated or mint state coins. An uncirculated 1965 quarter might sell for around $1 or $2, depending on how perfect it is. There is, however, a very rare and special version of the 1965 quarter that is worth a lot more money. Some quarters were accidentally struck on silver planchets, which are the blanks used for making silver coins before 1965. These silver planchets weigh about 6.2 grams and have a fully silver-colored edge, unlike the copper color seen on normal clad quarters. Because silver was no longer supposed to be used for quarters starting in 1965, these coins are mistakes or errors. These silver error quarters are very rare, and collectors pay a lot to get them. At auctions, these coins have sold for prices ranging from $5,000 to $8,400 depending on their condition. So if you find a 1965 quarter that looks heavier and has a silver edge, it's a good idea to get it checked by a coin expert. It could be a valuable mistake coin worth thousands of dollars. To know if your 1965 quarter is one of these rare silver errors, you can look closely at the edges of the coin. Normal quarters have a copper-colored edge, while the silver error coins have a shiny silver edge. You can also weigh the coin. The standard clad quarters weigh about 5.67 grams, but the silver error quarters weigh around 6.2 grams, which is noticeably heavier. The 1965 Washington quarter without a mint mark is an interesting piece of American coin history. It shows how the mint responded to silver shortages and hoarding by changing how coins were made and marked. While most of these quarters are only worth 25 cents, there is always a chance that a rare silver error could be hiding in your change. So it's worth paying attention to the coin's weight and edge color. Even though it might seem like just a regular quarter, the 1965 no-mint mark Washington quarter has a story to tell. It marks the end of the silver era for quarters and the beginning of the copper-nickel clad era. And if you're lucky enough to find one of those rare silver errors, it could be worth thousands of dollars. This coin is a perfect example of how small differences in coins can mean a big difference in value. If you're a collector or just curious, checking your 1965 quarters carefully might surprise you. They may look common, but some have hidden treasure for the right person. Our next coin is the 1967 Washington quarter with no mint mark. Just like the 1965 and 1966 quarters, the U.S. Mint continued the policy of leaving off mint marks from 1965 through 1967. This was done to stop people from hoarding coins made from silver during a time when silver was becoming scarce. Instead of silver, the mint used a copper-nickel-clad composition, which was more affordable and practical for everyday use. In 1967, the Philadelphia Mint produced about 1.5 billion of these quarters for regular circulation. That means these coins were made to be used by everyone in daily life. People got them as change, used them to buy things, and saved them in jars. Because so many were made and circulated, most 1967 quarters with no mint mark are very common today and are worth only their face value, which is 25 cents. Besides the billions made for circulation, there were also about 1.86 million quarters minted in San Francisco. These were special coins made for collectors and were part of the Special Mint Set, or SMS. These SMS quarters were not released for general use but instead sold in sets to collectors. They were struck with more care, giving them a sharper and cleaner look than regular circulation coins. The value of the regular circulated 1967 quarters is still just 25 cents, because there are so many of them and they don't contain any silver. But the Special Mint Set quarters are different. Because fewer were made and they are in better condition, these coins can be worth much more. If the SMS quarter is in high grade, which means it looks almost perfect with no marks or scratches, it can sell for anywhere between $4,000 and $8,800. The highest quality examples of these Special Mint Set quarters are graded MS-67 to MS-68. MS stands for Mint State, which means the coin has never been used in everyday life. MS-68 is near perfect with very few, if any, tiny flaws. These coins are popular with serious collectors who want pristine examples. A 1967 SMS quarter graded MS-68 with a deep cameo finish, called DCAM, can bring prices between $4,800 and $8,813 at auctions. Besides the standard versions, there are also rare error coins from 1967 that can increase value even more. Some of these errors include DDO, which means double die obverse, where the front design looks doubled. Another type is DDR, double die reverse, where the back design shows doubling. There are also clipped planchets, where part of the coin's metal blank was missing during production, creating a curved or clipped edge. These errors are special because mistakes in minting make the coin unique and collectible. If you happen to find a 1967 quarter with one of these rare errors, it could be worth much more than a regular quarter. However, it's important to do some research or ask a coin expert to confirm if your coin is an error and to find out its value. The 1967 Washington quarter with no mint mark is an interesting coin because it shows how the mint adjusted during a time when silver was hard to get. It's a piece of history that still appears in change today. While most are worth just 25 cents, special uncirculated versions and errors can be very valuable. If you're a collector or just curious, take a closer look at any 1967 quarters you find. You might discover a special coin worth more than you think. Whether it's a well-preserved Special Mint Set quarter or a rare error, these coins have stories to tell and value to explore. Let's sum it up. Most of these quarters you find in your change are worth just 25 cents. But if you come across one with a special error, the right mint mark, or in perfect condition, it could be worth hundreds, even tens of thousands, of dollars. Coins like the 1776 to 1976 Bicentennial quarter, the 2021 D. Crossing the Delaware, the 2022 D. Maya Angelou, or those from 1965 and 1967 can surprise you with their hidden value. It's amazing how something so small can carry such history and money. So next time you're sorting through your pocket change or your coin jar, take a careful look. You might just have a rare treasure waiting to be discovered. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about valuable coins, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share your own coin stories in the comments below. Happy hunting, and I'll see you in the next video.